Electrochemical finishing takes the health and safety of our employees seriously. The world has changed a lot since the initial spread of COVID-19 last year. This video will explain the ways in which COVID-19 spreads, the measures ECF is taking to protect employees, employee responsibilities, and how to properly use PPE. First, what is COVID-19? COVID-19 is a highly infectious illness that mainly affects the respiratory system. SARS coronavirus 2 refers to the virus that causes COVID-19. COVID-19 is spread through three main ways. First is droplet transmission. When someone coughs or sneezes, droplets escape from their nose and mouth. These droplets can land on surfaces that other people touch or onto someone else's eyes, nose, or mouth. This is suspected to be the primary way in which COVID-19 is spread. Next is contact transmission. This happens when someone touches an object that has COVID-19 particles on it and then touches their nose, eyes, or mouth. Lastly is aerosol transmission. As I'm speaking and breathing right now, there are tiny particles escaping from my nose and mouth. If someone else around me breathes in enough of these particles, they are exposed to the illnesses that I carry. It is possible for someone to transmit COVID-19 even when they're not showing symptoms, and this is very common with COVID-19. This is part of the reason that it's been so infectious and dangerous. A case in which someone carries the virus but doesn't show symptoms is called asymptomatic. COVID-19 has been known, though, to be most contagious when symptoms are present. The main symptoms of COVID-19 include a fever of over 100.4 degrees, shortness of breath, cough, sore throat, runny nose, body aches, headache, fatigue, gastrointestinal issues such as diarrhea and nausea, and a loss of smell and taste. If you experience any of these symptoms, do not come into work. If you experience any of these symptoms while you're at work, immediately leave the premises and do not go into any other public setting. Then, call Sarah or Brittany in Human Resources to tell them about your situation. You will be given further instruction based on your situation. This also applies if you are positively diagnosed with COVID-19 or have been in close contact with someone who has been positively diagnosed. Close contact occurs when someone is within 6 feet of an infected person without using a mask for at least 15 minutes. This starts from 2 days before the start of symptoms, or for asymptomatic cases, 2 days prior to testing. There are so many ways to be infected with this virus, but luckily, there's also many ways we can protect ourselves. First, wash our hands often. Do this by using soap and warm water. If that's not available, use a hand sanitizer that's at least 60% alcohol. To wash your hands, first work the soap into a lather while covering all surfaces of your hands and wrists. Rub your fingertips into the palms of your hands. Clasp your hands together and rub to push soap and water under your fingernails. The virus is protected by a fatty layer of material on your hands, so you will need to wash for at least 20 seconds to break down this layer and kill the virus. Hand washing should be done after coughing, sneezing, blowing your nose, using the restroom, before and after your shift, before and after using a face covering, and before and after breaks. In addition to washing your hands, it's helpful to avoid touching your face as much as possible. You can also help protect your coworkers by covering your coughs and sneezes with your sleeve or tissue. Employees who are fully vaccinated are allowed to not wear a mask. Employees must provide a copy of their vaccination card to the Human Resources Department before taking advantage of this rule. Fully vaccinated means that an employee has received the full dose of the COVID-19 vaccine and it has been at least 14 days since their last dose. Just because a person has their full vaccine does not mean that they cannot contract COVID-19 or spread the virus to others. So, they will still need to report having close contact with someone who is positively diagnosed or if they are showing symptoms of COVID-19. For information on COVID-19 vaccination locations in the area, visit the Human Resources Office. As I mentioned previously, COVID-19 particles can also travel through the air. It is less likely for these particles to infect a coworker if we stay more than 6 feet from each other. ECF has spread employees away from each other as much as we can in our buildings. However, staying 6 feet away from each other is not always possible, so masks are worn to reduce the spray of respiratory droplets and aerosols that expel from the nose and mouth. Anytime an unvaccinated employee is or has a chance of being within 6 feet of another employee, they are required to wear a mask. This includes when we are walking around hallways, on the production floor, to and from tables in the lunchroom, and while using the high-low. There is tape set up at tables in the break room that mark off areas that employees may not sit if they are to keep a safe distance from other employees. Do not remove or break the tape in order to sit across from a friend. Also, please only sit one person per booth. Platers are required to wear masks at all times, as they are often within 6 feet of each other. Platers are permitted to not wear a mask while they are working on the Pearl Bright polling station, as this is a very physically demanding job. Disposable masks are available for all employees at the health and safety station if they need one. To put on a face mask, make sure your hands are clean and inspect the mask for any holes or tears. Then, make sure the blue side is facing away from you and form the metal strip around your nose. Pull the bands around your ears. The mask should be around your nose, mouth, and chin at all times while you're wearing it. To remove a mask, grab the bands and put it in a trash can without touching the front part. Then, wash your hands. Of course, wearing a mask isn't a perfect substitute for social distancing, so still try to keep some space between yourself and others when you can. Since masks help to reduce the risk of infection of those around you, it's socially inconsiderate to not wear one or to wear one incorrectly. Wearing a mask shows respect for those around you. Employees are required to take their temperatures before entering the facility at the beginning of every shift. Now shown are the locations of the thermometers at each employee entrance for our buildings. If it's not yet been turned on, click the power button. If your temperature reads over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, do not enter the building, immediately leave the premises, and call Sarah or Brittany. Employees should clean their workstations and break room tables before and after use. There are disinfectant wipes and spray available. Avoid using another employee's workstation or tools whenever possible. Lastly, employees will now also be required to complete a health questionnaire before accessing the facility at the beginning of each shift. To create an account, scan the QR code. This will take you to the Michigan Symptoms app website. Then, just create your account by completing the information asked on the website. Use the employer code 77147102 to connect your account to Electrochemical Finishing. The employer code and QR code can be found on flyers in lunchrooms and on bulletin boards. Every morning before the start of your shift and before accessing the facility, go to the website and complete the health questionnaire. Employees are still required to take their temperatures as they enter the facility every morning. Although their temperature does not need to be recorded through the Michigan Symptoms website if they do not have access to a thermometer at home. If you need any help with accessing the site or creating an account, come see me in the Human Resources office. Instruction packets for creating an account are located in the break room of every building. Any COVID-19 related questions or concerns can be directed to our designated COVID safety coordinators. These people are Brittany, Sarah, Kyle, and Maria at the Remico facility, Cece and Chad at Dormax, and Calvin at 44th Street. All employees have the right to a safe and healthy workplace. We all have to do our part to keep each other safe. Preventative measures don't work if we're not all committed to maintaining them. If you are aware of any unsafe working conditions related to COVID-19 or any other risk, make your manager or the Human Resources Department aware immediately. Thank you for doing your part to make electrochemical finishing a great place to work.